Hi folks, this is Chris Voss from the chrisvossshow.com, the chrisvossshow.com. Somebody make me a jingle already, will you? Anyway, I wanted to do another blog post here. This is something I've been very passionate about, and I've thought a lot over the last 20 years. And I saw a TED Talk today on it where someone talked about the aspects of how we should probably educate and teach our children to be entrepreneurs. And that probably needs to go in our archaic school system. Now, when you see a lot of people, and they talk about this in this interview or this TED Talk below this video, people that are ADD, extreme ADD, a lot of them become successful entrepreneurs. They're people who tend to think outside the box. They seem to have the jump where they can figure stuff out much quicker, and they can get results much better in what they want to achieve. And a lot of times they become successful entrepreneurs. It's something that drove me. I used to be a severe ADD person. If we were watching this video right now of me at age 22, you'd probably just see me bouncing up against walls and the roof and stuff. But that's what helped me create my first business at 22. Let's just put it this way, my first multi-million-dollar successful business at age 22. There was one prior that I did well. And then a year and a half later, starting another one and going on from there, starting business after business, beating the 99% rule that businesses fail within the first 2 years. I think I created 4 or 5 of them in a row that were successful. So, and then went on to create a whole lot more or invest in a lot more. But given that, this is what a lot of these people go through. A lot of successful people I've known, and he talks about in the video, have been ADD. A lot of great CEOs I've known have incredible ADD, sometimes very annoying ADD, but they do very well, and they create jobs, and they create wealth, and they create the superior products that sometimes change and enhance our world and make a difference when it comes to innovation. So these people have a necessary place in society, and I think it's really important that we identify that these children don't fit into the mode of rigorous education. I mean, I used to drive most of my teachers crazy because I would pound the phone, or I would pound the desk with a pencil or pen, whatever I had, and I would sit there and just pound the crap out of it. And my psychiatrist was the only one who recognized what was going on with me. The rest of my teachers would scream at me endlessly because I just start doing it all the time. My psychologist says the reason you're doing that, it's the speed of your brain. Your brain is operating at extreme fast pace, and you're bored here. You're bored sitting in my psychology room, and your brain is going through whatever patterns it's going through. So I think it's really important that we start teaching kids in school real-life parameters. Not only, how to raise children, what to look out for in life, credit scores, how to build your financial things, how to balance a budget maybe would be good. Real-life lessons that are going to come into school. These are more important than, learning algebra that no one's going to learn anymore. I think we need to get better at identifying that maybe there are certain people that really go to that sort of stuff. Let me give you I'll let you watch this video below, but let me tell you a few things that are a few little things about me. When I went to high school, I was that ADD kid that was driven crazy. I figured out early in my junior year, that I needed 26 credits to graduate from high school. Now I'm sure it's changed now. But at the time I needed 26 credits. But if I took the curriculum of the high school all the way from front to back to being a senior and ending my thing, I think I would take about 50 or 45 classes. So automatically my brain figured out that, hey, you know what? Why do I need to take all these classes if they don't make a difference in whether or not I graduate for high school? Why would I want to put forth this effort? And, I was already being driven crazy by the structure of formalized education. And so what I did is I pretty much figured out which classes that I could flunk and not have to do any work in, and basically say, okay, I'm going to flunk these classes, and I'm going to go ahead and pass. And I passed high school with a perfect 26 credits, and I literally flunked out of all the other classes on purpose. What's even funnier is I actually went to the teachers and I said, look, I know that you really want me to like your class, you want me to get good grades, but this is my little game plan, and I'm going to be flunking your your class. And I don't want you to be offended or anything like that. What was kind of interesting is most of the teachers were offended. And you know what like 3 of them did with me? 3 of them said, you know what, I'm kind of offended that you will flunk my class intentionally by what you're doing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to just not show up in my class, and I'm going to mark you as here. Not kidding you. I went through most of my junior and my senior year not being in classes. I think 4 hours a day I was down at Pizza Hut having lunch. And then, of course, visiting all the different lunches with my friends between the breaks. Not kidding you whatsoever. So, not only did it work out well for me, where I was able to get away from school, it also worked out well to just do what I needed to do. So, in early age, I figured that out. I never went to college. My first company went really well. I had a Pell Grant to go to college. I knew that my parents were poor, my family was poor, and I was pretty much a dumb kid. I pretty much knew that. And my only hope was to, maybe find something. So I had a Pell Grant set up, but then I started my first construction business. It started going well, started doing well, and I said, you know what, I'm going to put off college, and I never went back. And the rest is history, I guess, as you would say. And I'm not the sort of person that can probably deal with the regimen of college. My head probably would have exploded, or I would have blown off my face or something. But the one thing everyone tells me is I have that ability to go into situations, understand them, assimilate them really quickly. Most of the businesses that I've ever invested in or been in or created, I usually had no prior knowledge of those businesses or a working knowledge of how to operate those businesses. Pretty much all I did was go in and apply business and concepts and basic innovation. I would learn out of the box. So that's what I did. And majority of things you need to achieve as an entrepreneur is to create new things, new dynamics, and think out of the box. And so a lot of times you have to problem solve over issues that you're not going to find in a textbook, because usually there's not a textbook for your given situation. So, or that you're going to readily find very easily that's going to have your exact remedy. So you've got to make one. You've got to take apples and oranges and go, how do we make apple orange juice? So this is a perfect example of why we should teach kids, instead of drugging them up with all this ADD stuff, we need to maybe focus on how can we give them a facility by which they can grow, by which they can engender their qualities and their abilities as human beings to outthink, because a lot of these people are the people who create innovation in our world. So the one other thing that I want to share with you, most important class that I ever learned in all of my years of learning and education, most important class, take a second, guess what it is. Most important class, and this is the one that I recommend most children take or kids take, typing. Not kidding you, typing. Typing enabled me to be able to write business letters, to be able to write proposals, to be able to type invoices, and to be able to type whatever I want. And today I can type without looking at the keyboard. Most important thing I ever learned in school. The rest of it was bullshit. Now, in the end, it's probably good for people. There are certain people that need to go to college. There are certain people that need that rudimentary thing. But one important thing he talks about in this video is you don't have to go to college to learn to be an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur changes you in so many different ways where you have to become self-reliant. And I'll leave it there. We'll talk about this some more, and go ahead and take and watch the video. Thanks for coming by thechrisvossshow.com. And if you think you have to go to college or school for stuff, maybe you don't. Let's change the way the world's operating. Let's change the way we're building our education system. Let's quit creating robots. The worst thing I can ever think of is that I would live my whole life, the past 20 years, expecting someone to give me a paycheck going, I hope this person gives me a paycheck. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but I live my whole life making my paycheck. And that's very different. It's very stressful, but it's a very different mindset. And it's a very freeing mindset. So, fun is fun. Thanks for coming by thechrisvossshow.com. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.